Rasta levels are off the hook.
Bruh, bruh.
Lord of mercy. Today's episode of the Natural Habitat Podcast is brought to you by Meister High End. What? Meister High End, you know what they're doing. They're elevating cannabis culture. So if you're out there... What? Hold on. Why?
I was just trying out the Zach Morris time machine.
Oh, shit.
All right, time in.
Hold on. Okay. Meister High End are elevating cannabis culture. So if you're out there and you are part of the cannabis community, you're out there taking your dabs, smoking your weed, vaporizing your stuff, then you're going to want to go to getmeister.com and get the best shit that money could buy for a pretty good price. Plus, you save 10% when you use the code NHP.
NHP.
So get your ass over there, use the code NHP at getmeister.com and get yourself some fresh shit.
Get Meister.
Yeah, get Meister.
Get now.
Get them. I don't know why this is still playing. I turned it down and it's still going. I turned the volume all the way down and it's still playing. I'm just going to stop.
Nice.
Yeah, I tried to do a fade out and for some reason the computer isn't working. So whatever, you know. Hopefully this next thing plays.
The Natural Habitat Podcast. The Natural Habitat Podcast. Natural Habitat Podcast.
When I wake up in the morning and the alarm gives out a warning, I don't think I'll ever make it on time. By the time I grab my books and I give myself a look in the mirror to make sure I look fine, I'm at the corner just in time to see the bus fly by. But it's all right, 'cause I'm saved by the bell. If the teacher pops a test and I know I'm in a mess and my dog ate all my homework last night, riding low in my chair, she won't know that I'm there. If I can hand it in tomorrow, it'll be all right. It's all right, 'cause I'm saved by the bell. Welcome to the show, everybody. This is the Natural Habitat Podcast. My name is Mikey Booyah.
My name is Morris Zach.
And we are here celebrating back to school. It's back to school week.
It is.
Right now, everybody is getting their new Trapper Keepers, new backpacks. All the children are headed off to school. People are starting their college semesters, maybe. And most importantly, parents are out there sending their kids away. I figure that most of the people that are going to be listening to this have children in school. So that's the point of view that you're looking at it from, is get out of here. You know what I mean? Get the fuck out of here.
Technically, they started school the other day on Monday, since today's Thursday.
So right now you're right in the midst of it. It just started.
Mid first week. Back to school, ready to fucking do it to it. You thought you were getting a break, but really ain't nothing changed.
No, nothing at all.
Back to the same grind.
Yeah, you made a good point, because I was like, everybody's getting rid of their kids, so that's a cool thing. And you're like, yeah, but all those people have to go to work, so they don't have their kids anyway. So it's just a regular thing. They're gonna go to work while their kids are either at daycare or at school. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
But,
you know, I guess like we said, you know, the lick is that they're saving money on the daycare now. They get the free daycare from the county.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's cool. And school is very important for a kid.
It's
I
true.
think.
Yeah, we were talking about it before we recorded, and like the ignorance of being a human being, and how, you know, we both went through this time to where we didn't want to learn anything. Nobody could get through to us. We didn't care, and just kind of floated through school and didn't do anything. And now we're both just super like hungry for information. We're constantly learning things.
Yeah.
Like, and if I had my mind state now in school, I would be taking notes about everything and fucking learning everything that I could. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I would have been a rocket scientist by the time I'm
fucking
32.
Being a rocket scientist.
Yeah, I would have been a fucking something other than what the fuck I am now. That's for sure.
So,
but that's the
true.
gift and the curse, about having a creative mind. It didn't make sense having a creative mind at a young age, but now that we're older, and it all perfectly makes sense, So,
yep.
I mean, nobody would have known. I think back then there was a huge disconnect between learning abilities and disabilities and knowing what to do with them or like how to perform, because for a long time people didn't know really what ADHD was. People didn't really people didn't know that kids needed different learning styles. Like some are more like audio or visual, and some are more like text and other things. So it's really like every kid is different.
Yeah.
And has a different chemical makeup, and like has a different learning style that needs to be kind of catered to. And back in those days, through all history, really, everybody's always been treated under the same guidelines, or
Yeah.
and it seemed kind of unfair because nobody's ever going to be the same. Nobody's ever going to have the same perspective. Nobody's ever going to see things the same. Nobody's ever going to fucking learn things the same, and it's really like, it makes perfect sense why we didn't get along that great.
Yeah, it's like, and it also depends on what school you go to as well, and the administrative people around you and how they see it and where they place you. Because I remember when I was in elementary school, I had trouble focusing in class. I wouldn't complete my homework, but I would do really good on tests. So, and that's how I always was all the way through like high school and middle school. I would always do really good on tests. Like I could figure it out at the last minute and but it was like the actual schoolwork that I had a problem with. So when I was in elementary school, they put me in the GATE class, which was gifted and talented education. And I know that it wasn't a ruse, like it wasn't a fancy name for special ed, because the kid Philip that fucking I talk about all the time that played ragtime on the piano that I hated, he was there, and he was like hella smart. So I was like with the smart kids for like 4th and 5th grade. And then when I went into middle school, I got put into opportunity class, which is like all the fuck ups that are always like getting in trouble. And then we would just like skate and smoke weed all day. So I was acting the same way in 4th grade and in 6th grade, but I got treated 2 different ways on 2 opposite sides of the spectrum. So depending on where you are, they'll either harness that and try to put you in an environment where you can learn, or they'll just kind of shut you off and just be like, this kid's never going to learn anything. We'll just let him float through.
Right, and that's for like lack of better knowledge on their part.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like they didn't understand how to deal with us. We were a different type of kids. We had to fucking, it seemed like an attitude problem, or it seemed like a fucking negative attitude or whatever. It seemed like fucking we didn't care about shit, or no, so we were just frustrated and couldn't care about like the way that they wanted us to learn. It just didn't work for us, shit was different.
Yep.
If you put on something and explained it to me in a visual sense, or like showed me a fucking documentary or something about it at that age, I would have retained every bit of that information, and I would have been able to prove it in a test scenario or whatever. But if you expect me to read when my mind is going a million miles an hour, you want me to read about some subject, I'm gonna read it once and it's gonna go in and completely out the other side, So I'm not gonna retain any of that because I have no care about it, and that's really like what my biggest downfall was in school, and it was very negative. It seemed like it really did seem like I didn't give a fuck about it or whatever, and it kind of like turned me to that point, and ended up making me really care less about it, because that's how I was looked at anyways. Nobody understood really like what we were going through, or like how to like affect us. And with their lack of knowledge, that makes us trust them less. That makes us like care less.
Yeah.
Because they don't know what the fuck they're doing. So if they don't know what they're doing, how does anybody know what they're doing?
Yeah, we're not going to listen to anything.
Yeah, so it's just this fucking cycle of like, but the average kids, they didn't have to worry about that shit.
Yeah.
Everybody else
I think
seemed
that-
like they did perfectly fine. I'm sure they had like their own things, but their own little quirks or whatever. But
Yeah.
for the most part, the average students, the average kids that weren't like ADD or whatever, or had some type of disability or whatnot.
Yeah, but it's like
Yeah.
it's a balance that you have to do, because if you don't pay attention in school and you don't give a fuck about any of this homework and getting to sleep so that you can get enough rest to fucking make it through the day and be focused and shit, then you're gonna be doing a lot more extracurricular activities as a kid, which gives you, like, I hate the term street smarts, but like it gives you street smarts and gives you life experience and makes you more, personable, sociable. You learn how to deal with different people. But people that are getting straight A's and doing great in school, they don't have this, they're thrown into life, and then they're not, they're not super functioning members of society.
Yeah, so I agree 100% that, like, they had their own specific set of problems as well, just completely different to ours that we can't relate to.
Yeah, exactly. And how you were saying about, like, if you saw a documentary about all that shit, I think that they should put everything in documentary form. They should get rid of teachers. They should hire actors to make documentaries and do voiceovers. Morgan Freeman is affordable, I believe. And they should put everything in documentary form, because that is the best way to get information for anybody.
Right. You still need to, like, not even when something's explained to you, you might not understand it right.
Yeah,
because of your lack of knowledge in the subject. So, like, you still need a teacher in the sense. You need both aspects of the curriculum, right? Like, you need to watch it and learn it and try to soak it up. And then from what you don't retain or understand or comprehend, you have the teacher there to back it up and reinforce it and explain it to your little mental level. You know what I'm saying? So it has to be like, because some things that just the way they're worded can't be completely grasped by a young mind that's like learning these words at the same time that they're learning these fucking phrases. You know what I mean? Like, it's too much to retain at once sometimes. So it's like sometimes some shit'll skip past you, and then you gotta like have the teacher there to like bring that back and like make sure that you kind of get every bit of it. I had a lot of good teachers. Like, I'm not trying to make any excuses, because like all my teachers were great, honestly, all of them. In their own ways, they were all dope. They all like actually cared. A lot of the thing was me not really giving a fuck, because of, whatever issues I was having or whatever. And then it turned me off towards it. And then by that time it's like, fuck you.
Yeah.
But I can't blame any of my teachers for that. None of them, because, it wasn't their faults that they didn't have the tools. You know what I'm saying? It was nobody's fault. It just wasn't a fucking widely known thing yet on how to deal with kids like me. So it was, oh no, it wasn't like, I don't harbor any like bad feelings or ill will or like any negative like things like that, because I know like it wasn't totally up to them. It was me too. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
it's a multiple thing.
True. So to celebrate Back to School Week, we are going to be getting into one of our favorite school-based shows from our childhood, Saved by the Bell. A lot of people watched it, didn't know why, and it was very prevalent, even though it was a short-running series. It was only like 3 or 4 years. They had a lot of extra shit that happened, but the original...
I think it's because, we were going to school, so
yeah,
we super related to it.
We were like, hey, I do this.
Yeah,
everybody loves looking at shit and be like, hey, I do that. I like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know that.
That's the greatest thing. So, but before we get into that, I want to get into a quick segment of Mikey Likes It. Hey, Mikey, he likes it. That's the theme song. I don't know. I didn't really make one, so I'm just gonna, that's it.
Right.
So I stumbled across this movie. Someone recommended it to me. A friend of mine, Jazzy, she was like, watch this movie on Netflix. It's dope. And that was maybe 2 years ago when she said that. And I stumbled across it and I was like, hey, I remember someone told me to watch this. I'm gonna watch it. It was called American Mary. Have you seen it?
Oh no.
Okay. First of all, chick is super hot, smoking hot. And I'm not even mad that I didn't get to see her titties just because she was so hot in the whole movie. And fucking, she was like a surgeon that went to school, was like an aspiring surgeon. And she was short on rent, short on money, went to go get a job as a stripper. And when she showed up, she like told the dude that she was a surgeon, had like a resume, like it was a real job and shit. And there just happened to be some shady backroom, shit. They had just fucked some dude up or somebody got in a fight or something. And then he was like, I'll give you $5,000. No questions. Just come in and help my friend. So she goes in, sews him up, makes the money, and then starts doing all this like underground surgeon shit and like body modification and shit. Mm-hmm. And, it was like a super dope movie. Very strange. Very like, I was very uneasy the whole time. Mixed with like horny because she was so hot. And then, it had one of the most uncomfortable scenes. I hate rape scenes. Like, I could just do without rape scenes in horror movies. You know what I mean? I don't need to see that shit. It doesn't like, I'm not like, ooh, this is so scary. Like, I could watch someone get murdered and like, neck cut and like fucking something down the throat all day. You know what I mean? I love that girl getting raped by the tree in The Evil Dead. That's fresh. But when girls are like drugged and then like raped and all like fucked while they're passed out and shit, it's kind of weird. And that happened. And then immediately after that, she like gets the dude and does some fucking 45-minute long torture body modification, like uses him as a test dummy and practices on him and shit. So I got instant satisfaction. You know what I mean?
Nice.
But solid movie. I give it 5 dabs. Find it on Netflix. American Mary.
Hey, is there a Mikey likes it about back to school stuff?
No.
Oh.
That's the rest of this episode. You trying to say that wasn't back to school related?
No.
I said that she was going to school to be a surgeon, man. Did I not say that?
No.
Okay, the guy that raped her that she killed was her professor.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. It's a little more school related, right?
Sure.
All right, we'll be back after this break.
It's the most wonderful time of the year.
It's that time of year again. They're going back! It's back to school time at Staples! Over 7,000 supplies at guaranteed low prices.
It's the most wonderful time of the year.
Staples. Yeah, we've got that.
All right, welcome back. Now, in true form of Saved by the Bell, for the rest of this episode, we are not going to be cursing because there was no cursing allowed on the set of Saved by the Bell whatsoever. It was supposed to remain a wholesome feel. No cursing allowed. So we're going to see. You think you could do it? I think we've dropped a lot of F-bombs so far. But if we start now, do you think we'll be able to pull it off?
No.
No?
Maybe.
I think we can. I got faith in us. All right, let's get the fuck into this. So before we jump into Saved by the Bell, do you want to go over these back to school pros and cons?
Yeah.
Little ups and downs, pros and cons?
Yeah. Let's do it.
Goods and bads?
Yeah.
What are we calling this segment? We're calling it the Natural Habitat Podcast, Back to School, Pros and Cons, Goods and Bads of a New School Year, Things to Look Forward to, and Things to Not So Much Look Forward to as Much.
This sounds like an episode of Unsolicited Opinions.
Yeah, that sounds like an awesome tie name. Well, he stole that gimmick from me, all right? I've been making long names since episode 32. Since 32.
Also, Pat, in that, they never told me what the fucking, they never told me this whole episode. Oh, I just said the F-bomb.
Oh, that's all right.
I just blew the cussing thing.
They
never said that. I never got the memo. This was all about Saved by the Bell. I thought it was all the shows and everything back to school, but I need to find some more facts.
Holy shit. Well, that's all right because we're not getting into that yet. Anyway, we're talking about what was it? Natural Habitat Podcast.
Yeah.
Back to school. Pros and cons, goods and bads. Things to look forward to and things not to look forward to so much.
As much.
As much.
Okay. All right.
There we go.
All right. Things that I looked forward to going back to school. I'm going to keep it broad. I'm going to start with a young age and then, work my way up throughout the years.
All right.
So in the beginning, what things that I would look forward to is obviously like new clothes.
Yeah, new clothes for sure.
New clothes are always fresh.
And that's what, here's a message to all you parents out there. Get some new clothes for your kids when they start the school year. Because it's like, you might not think about it, and those shoes might still be fine and not have any holes in them and not be fucked up. But kids are ruthless. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you gotta, they know this.
Yeah.
I don't know why they act brand new and shit,
Yeah.
Like, everybody remembers what it was like to go to school. You remember what it was like to be compared to everybody else. Oh, you don't have this? I have this.
Yeah.
Certain type of brands, certain type of fucking whatevers, certain toys that they'd bring to school. If you didn't have the right yo-yo, you weren't cool, man.
Yeah.
And if you didn't have the fucking,
and if
the
you're
pumps
wearing some hot
Jordans,
shit, if you're wearing some hot shit from last year, then yeah, that's no good.
No good, no bueno. So, your kids know what's cool. Let them tell you.
You know what's funny is that on your list it said new clothes, and on my list it says old clothes.
Yeah?
Old clothes. Mine's on the bad side.
Oh, yeah. Old clothes should be on the bad side,
Because
right?
there was a lot of, I mean, not a lot, maybe like 3 or 4 years throughout my, kindergarten through 12 experience that I went to school with no clothes, no clothes at all, just naked, and
nice.
And got sent home immediately.
Nice.
But a thing that I used to do was I would wear like sweatpants with shorts on underneath, and then I would like run up to people and like flash them. But I would just like pull down my sweatpants and be like, "Look at my dick," and then my shorts would still be on.
Sure,
and
you did.
That was a weird thing I used to do.
Sure, you did.
You know what? What is that? Is that from a movie? Did I steal that?
I don't know. Okay, what else? Depending on what age you were, if you were like, schools were, you go to multiple different schools growing up because of like age groups. So if you were like in kindergarten, you're in your own little school. If you're first, second grade, you're in like another school. If you're like 3rd through 5th grade, you're in another school. Especially like in Paso or like, small towns, places like that. If you fucking, so like, like going from school to school, like transitions was always something to look forward to, like new friends and relationships and things, like you could always like, when you switch from one school to the next, you always find like a different group of friends. You never stay no matter what with the same group of friends from school to school to school all throughout time. You just don't. Your shit changes.
Yeah. And it's like
people that you click up with and get along with.
And you get this whole new dynamic, whole new experience, like with the new school. And as a kid, it's really important. Like we lose touch with it being older now, but as a kid, every year that you get older is like a huge fucking deal. You're like, hey, I'm not 11 anymore. You know what I mean? Like I'm fucking 12 now. So get out of here with all that shit. And then the next year you're like, I'm not 12 anymore. I'm a teenager. Okay. Like what the fuck?
Yeah.
And it's just like every year, and then especially when you move schools, it's like you're moving up, you're getting, older, more experience, going into middle school or high school or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And that brings me to my next pro, which is bitches. I remember how excited I was going to high school and that there was going to be like 17-year-old bitches running around. like seniors and like juniors and shit. That was always a thing, but I didn't have any confidence with women until I was like 22. So it didn't really pay off at all. But I was definitely a little creep, that's for sure. Still am.
Yeah.
And then
I really wasn't focused on bitches really in school until like high school either.
Yeah.
I mean, middle school, kind of, not really though. I was more into like smoking weed and shit.
Yeah.
Like junior high, and I was like skating and smoking and shit. I was doing other shit. I didn't have time for bitches. I didn't give a shit.
See, I was just trying to get laid all the time and it never happened. So I was just like, this has got to work eventually.
Yeah.
And then,
partying.
then it all worked out. Yeah.
Yeah.
But, and then, on the bad side of that would be bullies and assholes and older kids that were punks because I was small and I didn't get my way with women until 22, and I didn't actually like start, getting bigger and like hit a growth spurt and start defending myself until I was like 15. And then I started being like, fuck y'all, and like fucking fighting people and shit. But before that, I was just some little Weasley kid that just fucking got picked on all the time. You know what I mean? So that was always something not to look forward to.
Yeah, I don't think I ever got bullied because I was the older brother.
Yeah. See?
So I was like used to the bullying.
I remember I had this guy. It was my mom's like best friend's son, and he was a few years older than me. And I remember he went to high school, and when I went in as a freshman, he was like a junior. So I showed up on like the first day of school, and I saw him like over by the soda machines, and I was like, hey, what's up, man? Like, fucking, how are you? Blah, blah, blah. Like, we used to hang out all the time, like play video games and shit. Our moms were best friends. So like, I like walked up to him, and he was all with his homies and shit, and he was like, get the fuck out of here, kid. And then like fucking pushed me, and I fell over like into some gum, and it got all over like my brand new jacket. And then like he just totally like fucking punked me in front of everybody because he didn't want to look like like lame for being friends with a freshman. And then that was like the last time I talked to that dude. We stopped hanging out after that. And I was like, fuck you, man. And then he tried to be like, hey man, sorry about that. You know what I mean? Hit me up later. We'll play some fucking Call of Duty. And I was like, no, like what the hell you doing, man? So that's the kind of shit I had to deal with. You're lucky you didn't.
Yeah, no, it was definitely happening. I seen it happening and shit. I mean, like,
kids are ruthless, man.
Kids are fucking ruthless, yeah, but that's human nature. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. I mean, like, if motherfuckers never got bullied, nobody would ever be successful in life.
Yeah, definitely. It definitely turned everything that's happened in my life turned me into the person I am now. You know what I mean?
Exactly. It's all part of it. You know what I mean? It's like you can either deal with it one way or deal with it another way. I mean, it is what it is, There's no way you could no way you could tell it. I mean, like, you just handle it how you take it.
Yep.
Okay, more pros. Field trips and shit.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Fuck, man. That was like the most look forward to thing as a kid, no matter what. If you knew that you had some type of field trip coming up, it really didn't fucking matter. You were getting out of school. You were like, yeah, bitch, let's do this.
Fuck yeah. What are
you
your
signed up for everyone? Fucking.
What are some of your standout field trips that you remember as a kid?
I remember going to like a bunch of missions.
Yeah.
I went to like 3 or 4 different missions. I went to like Rancho El Chorro and did like the 3-day camp thing.
Did you ever go to the Monterey Bay Aquarium?
Yeah, I did the Monterey Bay Aquarium. I did fucking.
Did Santa Cruz Boardwalk?
Did a lot of shit because I went from like a lot of different schools too. So
yeah.
Depending on where you live, they'd do different shit,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember it was always a mix of like, sometimes it would be fun shit, sometimes it would be educational shit. But either way, you're getting out of school for a day. And you get to ride around on the bus with your homies. That's my next pro is homies. Like, when you're a kid and you don't have a car, or, like you can't afford a bus pass, you don't have a job, and you're just chilling at home all summer, and you have your friends that live near you, but say if you have a friend that lives in another town or across town, and you barely see him all summer, then when you get back to school, you get to catch up, and fucking,
Yeah.
That was always a big thing too.
Yeah, I'm gonna take it back even earlier than that, way earlier.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take it back to fucking early school. One of the first things you ever look forward to is like.
I know what you're gonna say.
What?
Nap time.
Close. Very close.
What is it?
Recess.
Yeah, recess for sure.
No matter what, that's the first thing you ever look forward to in school. Even from fucking kindergarten.
In life, I think.
Yeah, you just like break.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, playtime. You're like, yeah, what's up? I remember doing some ridiculous ass shit as a kid.
Yeah.
Like as a young kid, like 2nd grade, I remember like doing a flip off of the fucking monkey bars and like landed on my back. I remember like just doing all kinds of dumb shit. When I was a kid, I used to climb up everything. It didn't matter what it was. I was climbing up shit and falling off of shit. It was fucking nuts.
Fuck
all
yeah.
All kinds of head scars.
Yeah, I remember I think it was in elementary school. I remember getting up on the roof like after school because I would always just chill after school and wait because my mom got off work at like 5 and school got out at like 3. So everybody would leave and get on their buses and bail, and I would just kind of like hang out, listen to music and shit. And I remember me and my homie got up on the roof and we're like running across the roof of the school and like fucking parkour jumping from like roof to roof. The gaps weren't that big. They were like a foot. And we would like jump over it and feel all cool and shit. And then one of the teachers heard us running across and he came out and he was like, I hear somebody running up there. And we fucking bailed and got away all last minute and shit. And that's just like these weird shenanigans that you get into as a kid.
Yeah, most definitely.
And they get more and more dangerous and illegal as you get older.
Yeah, for sure.
I remember doing the same thing with a pocket full of stolen credit cards on the top of a Jiffy Lube.
Nice.
At like 1 o'clock in the morning. Running from cops.
Yeah, I had the similar scenario. And school was like, my mom would get off at 6. So, you know, she'd be working the day shift too. She'd get off at 6.
Yeah.
I'd have until then to do whatever the fuck. You know, so I was out doing whatever the fuck, you know? Believe it.
Yeah.
And it was great. It was fun to have that freedom, especially at a young age like that, because, you know, it's just like you said, we got to like kind of experience a different thing, and we just became young adults on our own, especially with no guidance and shit. You know, it was like a very primal thing.
And something that I always forget is that at this time we didn't have cell phones.
Oh, we didn't have shit.
Yeah, nobody had cell phones or tablets or laptops or anything. You didn't have shit. You had to just walk around.
We had payphones. We had fucking 25-cent dollar rides and shit.
Yep. And then every once in a while someone had a pager or something.
We literally rode the bus for a quarter.
Yeah, that's some dope shit. I remember back in my day, everything was a quarter.
Hey, but and it wasn't even that long ago, you know. So I mean, we lived in a great time. It was different. Okay, my next pro back then was hobbies. You know, like you always picked up the coolest hobbies as a kid, and you kind of miss them now. Like I used to skate like a motherfucker.
Yeah.
I was always skateboarding, and that was a great hobby to have as a kid. Or like riding bikes, BMX bikes and shit, building jumps and fucking doing all kinds of shit.
Fuck yeah.
You know, like all those type of hobbies were great hobbies. Playing sports, after school sports.
Making
whatever,
fucking
you know?
Making a little dam in a river and making like a little swimming hole. Or fucking like those little rockets. I remember I got into rockets for a little bit. Fucking shoot them shits up.
Yeah, all the hobbies were like super, super good things for us to be spending our time with, because they kept us active and they kept us like, I don't know, they just kept us really like out of trouble and mind off of dumb shit, and I don't know, good times.
Yeah. And I remember when I first started going to a high school that had open campus where you could just leave.
Yeah, go somewhere and eat or whatever, come back.
Yeah, you could leave during all the breaks, and then say like if you didn't have a period like fucking for some time during the day, you could just bail.
Yep.
And that was like, they're just asking for me to not come back. You know what I mean? Why are they going to let somebody go and be like, you better come back though? But you're in that transitionary period where you're almost an adult. So
you're responsible for your own shit, you know?
Yeah. Like I read that up until the 30s, high school wasn't a part of school at all. People would go up until like 8th grade and they would start working when they were, you know, like 14, 15, going to the workforce or going to the fucking army or do some shit like that. So they started adding high school in the 30s to have that transitionary period of becoming an adult. Because I wasn't an adult until I was like 25. I take that back. I'm not even an adult yet. So, you know, for them to expect me to be an adult at 14 and start fucking taking care of a family, it's not going to happen. You know what I mean? I was just starting my experimentation drug phase.
All right. Dislikes.
I'm going to say, hold on, I got one more like. I guess it could be a little bit of both. Likes and dick likes.
Dick likes. You got some dick likes,
yeah, I got
bro?
some dick likes.
Oh, shit. The truth is coming out.
Uh-huh. School dances.
Okay, yeah, I'm right in the middle on that one too.
You see, it's like a like and a dick like.
Okay, so I guess for you.
Oh shit.
Yes, so I don't know. I didn't mind. I liked them because I was a social kid.
Yeah.
So I didn't like the queerness of it.
Yeah.
Where you had to feel awkward about like asking girls to dance or anything like that. Like that shit was kind of too much pressure for kids. You know, I think it should have been less, but you know, that's what kids do to themselves. Kids, we put that pressure on ourselves and on our friends and things. You know, it wasn't because of any other reason. So we made it awkward.
Yeah.
You know? But
And I remember
but
like
after that stage, you know, like when you would go, you would like warm up to it, and then by the end of the night, everybody's just doing their thing, having fun or whatever. But the whole uneasy feeling, the whole awkward feelings, the whole fucking embarrassed feelings, the whole self-consciousness feelings, you know, all that shit, that's bullshit.
When you're just sitting in the corner and fucking looking at everybody and shit with your friends.
Yeah, when you feel like you don't know how to act, or like you know, some of us didn't have dads or like anybody around to fucking tell us what time it was, you know. So when you're thrust into a fucking situation like that, you're kind of like on your own.
Yeah, exactly. And it's crazy because like you are on your own, how your parents aren't there, they drop you off. It's all dark and there's music and there are like adults and security and fucking whatever there, but they're barely there. They're just kind of walking around and fucking drinking punch and shit. So the kids are just doing their own thing and you are in charge of doing this, like, you know, this old thing that we've been doing forever, which is, you know, like courting each other and approaching women and doing all these things and kickstarting the creation process of having a baby. And you got to like test that out and shit. And then once you finally do get a girl to dance with you, that feeling is crazy. When you're by yourself, none of your family's there, you're not having your hand held like you said, no one explained to you how to do it, but you have some fucking hot girl in a dress dancing with you to some slow song and you're just like, yeah, I fucking did it. This is crazy. But I remember most of school dances was chilling in the corner, sneaking like alcohol. Like we would all drink and shit and have like little tiny bottles of Aftershock or something nasty. And, you know, listen to music, hanging out with people and shit. Everybody would do like goofy dance moves. I remember that was always a thing. Have like a circle and then someone would go in there and like do the sprinkler or something. Yeah. And it was just like real lighthearted. Everybody was chilling.
Yeah, it was dope. I mean, like, it is what it is. We, like I said,
there's good and bad.
Yeah, we make it what it is, and you know, and then you get over it, and then everybody has a good time, and I don't know, it was definitely one of the most awkward things about school for sure. Probably for everybody. I doubt we're the only ones, you know.
Yep. And then there's nothing worse than when you're talking to this girl, you got a crush on her, you're trying to get her to go to the dance. All right, I'll see you at the dance. You're going to be there? Cool. And then you go there and there's just like some other dude is like freaking with her and just like banging his cock up against her. And you're like, man, what the hell, dude? And then you just sulk the whole time. You know what I mean? That's a dick like.
Yeah. All right. My normal dislikes were a lot of shit, like rules in general. I hated it. Yeah. I hated being told what to do. I don't know, I've always had this fucking thing where I just, don't tell me what to do. Why don't you just explain what to do instead of fucking demanding shit, you know?
Yeah.
Don't fucking tell me shit. You're not nobody to me, you know? And I think that dictation and like, you know, things like that where motherfuckers are just talking down to you or don't know how to relate. You shouldn't be a teacher if you don't know how to be personable. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you know, pick a fucking new line, go be a infomercial guy or something. You know, but, I mean, like, do something else. But don't try to be a teacher and fuck up my life because, you know, you don't know how to, like, relate to somebody, I guess. So, I don't know, like, things like that. Rules, certain rules, not all rules, obviously, but, you know, just being like, I don't know, you know, I feel like a lot of it was more, enforced things instead of like, you know, it's really up to you what you do.
Yeah. And it's like you have, looking back, there's this whole mix of teachers, and you know, like there's teachers that cared, there's teachers that got it, there's teachers that didn't get it, there's teachers that would teach every student differently and try to approach all their needs, you know what I mean? And those are like, I have one teacher that I remember particularly, his name was Carl, and it was, I don't remember his last name, maybe Carl Sagan, we'll say. And he taught me all about the stars, all about cosmology. No, he fucking, he was a teacher at community school, but when I first got there, he was all about like actually turning you around and getting you to care and getting you to want to learn these things. And he would present it in a way to where it was interesting. And I remember we would watch The Simpsons in his class. Like, we got everything done, we'd watch like a quick episode of The Simpsons, 20 minutes at the end before we go home, you know what I mean? And yeah, he was dope, and he like got it, you know what I mean? I remember he would talk to me like I was a person and not like I was a fuck up, not like I was a kid, not like I didn't get it or like I was stupid. He would be like, come on, man, like, you know what you need to do, so this is it, and life isn't gonna fucking hand everything to you. Do you want to be in jail the rest of your life, or do you want to fucking make something of yourself, you know?
Right, and that goes like hand in hand with what I was saying about the rules thing. It's really up to the kids, and they should have just explained that, you know, and be like, look, you got a couple options, you know, do the right things and fucking be part of, or fuck it off and not reap any benefits, you know? I mean, like, if it would have been up to us, I'm sure 9 times out of 10 we're going to make the right decision, because people inherently are smart and want to do the right thing.
Yeah, exactly.
We all have morals, and we all have, you don't have to have like, you know, it's not a religious thing or anything like that. Kids don't even know that shit. Kids don't understand any of that. Kids just know that fucking doing the right thing feels like the right thing to do. It's just a fucking human nature thing.
Yep. And you know, it wasn't presented to us like that until later, until it was too late. You know what I mean? Yeah,
exactly. Another thing I disliked was times that we had to be there, times that we had to do shit.
It was always so early, right?
Yeah, and not enough time in between classes.
Yeah.
Not like, they always had the times fucked up. And like, if you're gonna have us there at 8 o'clock in the morning, we need to be out of school at 1 o'clock. If you want us there at 10 o'clock in the morning, then we could be out of school at 3 o'clock or whatever, you know, or something like. The times should have been different. Should have catered to a young mind. And I think that kids would have had a lot more success as well.
Yeah, I agree. There would have been more time to get a better balance of the different types of experience and childhoods and smarts. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and you got to know like what times kids are going to be able to focus better throughout the day. You know, like you got to have like a balance for a child's mind. You know what I'm saying? You can't cram us for 8 hours a day all fucking day long and then give us 3 hours of homework at night. It's just ridiculous. It's not like nothing in the real world works like that, you know?
Yeah, that's half a fucking day if you include travel time, you know what I mean, on the bus. That's half your day gone. And then you got to sleep for 8 hours.
Yeah, you get nothing.
So you get 4 hours of day to yourself.
Yeah, and it's proven that, you know, it's just too much for a young mind, because like if you look at foreign schools, every schools over in Europe will just go for a couple hours a day, and they don't even cram like that. They teach completely different, and they have like the highest amount of fucking graduating students, the highest IQs, the highest everything, you know, because they understand like how the young mind and body works, and like when is the best times and when is the best ways, and
yeah.
It's crazy, right?
Yep. We need to we need to reevaluate it, because I know that we are like doing very bad in the polls of the world. Like the US school system is not even close to first place or in the top 10 in anything.
No, we're so far behind.
Yeah.
It's sad as fuck.
It is. And it's because it's a mix of ignorance and just flat out people that don't care, adults that don't care, the whole new fucking Common Core thing that I hate, and all these different.
Well, it's not even that. It's just it's run by it's funding. It's by fucking They'd rather spend the money on other shit. It's dumb people letting other people make decisions for them.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, they get paid for how many students are in the seats. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it doesn't really matter because like the tax money. If the tax money's not there, to pay for the shit, they just cut it all back anyways. So like that shit's meaningless. It's all a money thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Subjects that you liked and didn't like.
I wouldn't say I liked it, but I was always like good at math until I got into like fucking like tricky geometry like type shit. But I'd say like my favorite was always like history, like world history, or I remember science was dope. Like when I first got into high school and started like just taking like basic science, that was fresh. Mm-hmm. And a lot of stuff that I'm still interested in now. You know what I mean? Strangely.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. So I liked like all the special subjects, science, art, PE, history, geography, English. Duh, I'm a rapper. You know, and then the ones I didn't like were like meaningless bullshit, like fucking Spanish, computer class, math.
Yeah.
Fucking, I didn't ever understand why we had to be at a homeroom. I thought that was the dumbest shit ever. It's a waste of part of my day. Why am I even here?
I remember I took a computer class. I took 2 computer classes. One that was just like a typing class that was bullshit. And fucking my teacher looked like Predator. She had like little tiny dreadlocks and fucking they were like super long and like she had really, really long fingernails and fucking would like come around and like go over your shoulder and be like on the keyboard and like show you how to type shit. And fucking then my second class was like it was like photo editing and shit like that. I remember that was a big piece of it was photo editing, and we would like remove backgrounds and do Photoshop and take like words off of signs and all kinds of shit like that. You know what I mean? And I still
see that would have been cool.
Yeah, I still kind of use a lot of that today. So
that would have been cool. Mine was dumb as fuck. It was like intro to fucking computing or some shit. It was like some dumbass shit.
Like now press save as and you can find the path.
Yeah, telling you. I just remember playing the fucking. What's that game?
The fucking the Mason typing game.
No, the Oregon Trail.
Yeah,
I'll just be playing that all day long. Say fuck.
And then what was the other one? There was like an otter game or something like that, right?
Something like that. There was a typing one too where you would type.
Yeah, do you remember that one? And there was all kinds of different games inside of it. I downloaded it recently. You could find it online, and. And you would be in the car and you would have to type words, and every time you got a word wrong, a bug would hit the windshield. And then if you got too many wrong, you wouldn't be able to see and you would crash. And there's like all these different games inside of it. I want to say it was called Mason, but I'm not sure. Yeah,
so I took that stupid class like twice. Took Spanish twice, the same one. Never retained a word.
Yeah.
None of it. It was just pointless ass shits that I just couldn't get grasped at that time. It was just, I thought, you know, when you're given the choice of electives and you get to choose as a kid, make dumbass decisions. Mm-hmm. And you get stuck with dumbass classes.
It's true.
Those were the ones that I hated. I don't know why I ever chose them. They're so dumb. You know, and I used, during the time of going to school, I didn't really think that I actually liked history or geography or anything either, but I did. Subliminally, like
looking back at it.
Yeah, I look back at it. It's like my fondest classes, probably.
Yeah, because at the time you were like, I don't care about any of this shit, no matter what class you were in. But then they would say something or show you something or some sort of slide, and then you'd be like, all right, that's pretty damn interesting.
I knew all of it, bro. I remembered all of it. I always did so good in those classes, and I didn't even try. And it was like it's because of how interesting it was. Like those type of classes brought you. Those were always the ones that would bring some extracurricular shit. You would have to be building a fucking panorama or whatever. You'd have to build little fucking sets, or like you would have to fucking watch, documentaries about like cavemen and fucking early man, or like Indians or dinosaurs or fucking whatever. You know what I'm saying? You'd be like, it was always an interactive type of class about some interesting ass shit that actually fucking happened.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think that's why I always grasped it so well and like just soak it all up. I was like, yeah, this is real shit. I can relate to this. Like, I liked English because it became easy, but I didn't really grasp those as much because of like the fiction side of things or whatever. Like, I had a good imagination. Yeah. But I didn't grasp other people's imaginations.
Yeah, you're just like, whatever, man, the story sucks. Like, yeah, I felt like that. I felt like that a lot of times.
Yeah, so, or like I just didn't relate or like whatever, but I still was good at that too.
I'm like, why would Lisa have 65 apples? Like, this doesn't make any fucking sense. Does she sell apples? No? Like, yeah. Yeah, man, fucking back to school was definitely... It was definitely like something that I look back fondly on, but something that I don't miss. I'm glad that I don't have to go to school still, and I'm glad that I got through it and got out of it. I didn't graduate per se. I got my GED, which is like an equivalency, but either way, got out of it and done with it.
What if you was given like the magic opportunity today? Say some happenstance.
Okay,
we got a
be
time machine, or no? We got a choice between a pill to travel back in time.
Would it be
to
Billy?
Like start over again.
Would it be Billy Madison style?
No, it would be like.
So I'm a kid again.
Yeah, it would be like.
Do I know all the things I know now?
Well, not necessarily. You knew them. So like somewhere inside, you might know to make different choices. But who's to say it? You know what I mean? Like, you don't get to just take it with you. You don't get to take the knowledge with you. You just get the chance to redo it.
Okay, all right. So I don't have the knowledge, but I have the life experience. So I have the what's the word? Like the instinct built into me already.
You have lived it once.
Yeah, because I already lived it and know that this is bad, but I don't remember doing it.
Exactly, but you have no recollection.
I think, I don't know, man. It's a tough one. I don't know. I think I probably wouldn't do it.
Depends, man. If I could go back and do it again in the same year, same everything, probably would do it, you know? Because like, it was great. It was great.
Yeah.
No matter what, no matter all the shittiness, it was great.
It was.
So good.
I'd have to think about it.
Well, think about it.
I'm gonna. And I got all week.
Yeah.
Because it's back to school week. So, yeah, we...
Actually, we don't have all week because we only have Saturday matinee after this.
Yeah, you're right. Because Thursday, That Killer Chris is joining us for an episode of Guess That Theme Song.
Yep.
And then on Saturday, we're doing a film. Nobody knows who it's going to be or what it is. That's out there listening. We know. You don't.
Yep.
But one thing that I will tell you is that we get no respect.
Put some respect on it.
Yeah. So, there was something I was going to throw in there at the last minute. Oh, yeah. Saved by the Bell. It was a great show. Had a lot of people. The evolution of Zach Morris's cell phone. Screech wrote a tell-all. The principal doesn't talk to anybody anymore. He's really fat now. So, yeah. Thank you for listening, everybody.
Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Boy Meets World. Clearly explains it all. All kinds of other school shit, too. Family Matters.
Facts.
Boom.
Natural Habitat Recordings.